So welcome to this week's Inner Circle Call. Today we are focusing on a topic that is very, very dear to my heart, and it's going to be very dear to your heart, whether you've implemented this already or whether you're yet to do it. So, Autoresponder. What it's going to do is this. It's going to do the work of a sales team. So, if you know you need to reach out to a client, to a candidate, it's going to do that in the background while you sleep. It's going to engage with thousands of prospects, hundreds of times each year on autopilot. It can take a client or a candidate from being completely cold to them actually trusting you and actually coming to you. We're going to cover that in more detail in a bit. Now, this is the key thing. It's a pivotal pillar in your business. This isn't a nice to have. So Barry, you did so awesome with the Maven strategy. If you had this set up, we'd be, well, I don't know what we were talking about if you actually implemented this up front. So this is key. This isn't something you wait till month 6 or month 3. This is first 30 days essential. Essential. And it'll be in your business for life, or until I tell you to replace it with a new strategy. So this is absolutely key. This is a key pillar. It's not a nice luxury. This is absolutely fundamental. So very quickly, what is an autoresponder? Well, simple, and I got this off Factory. So you've all seen the newsletters you get from us, or the emails, whatever you want to call it, but essentially all it is a set of newsletters you're sending out automatically to your clients, to your candidates. You define the interval. Now, we've got templates to tell you on day 1 you send this, day 4, day 7. We'll go into that in more detail in a bit. But essentially, it's going to automate that process. Now, what you could do is, as soon as someone comes into your marketplace, so they sign up for a webinar or download an ebook, you send out an automated message, a welcome message. I'm going to go into this in more detail later on. Let's do this then. So the problem is this. The first problem is this. Say, we've been monitoring what you do. So when you sign up to us, we get some details from you. We ask for your work email and your personal email. And we also go to your website and we opt in, not as Recruit RMI, as something else. So we actually see what you do. And the problem is, it's not even being set up properly, or it's not being set up at all. So you know who you are, but you're missing out on some key drivers there. Now, some of you have implemented this, and you've done the basics, and I know that it's paying for itself already, hugely. But the problem is, you've either not set it up, or you've got it set up, which is brilliant. We call that round 1. But now I'm going to give you a few more advanced tactics we can do towards the end, okay? So the key problem is this. The funnel you use, whether you use a webinar or you use the content cannon and you take them to a page to capture their email address, they then go into your automated funnel. The problem is this. When you bring in new leads, and if you use them at the content cannon, you're going to be bringing in anything from 100 to 1,000 new leads a month. Depending on how you set up and how aggressive you are, you're going to bring in a lot of new candidates and clients coming towards you. Most aren't going to trust you. Most aren't going to know who you are. It could be your database you've not actually spoken to that often. So you start emailing them, who are you? They're not going to trust you. And that's the key problem we got. One of the key problems we got is most aren't going to trust you. Easily overcome, but that's the first challenge you've got. Next, you've got all these new leads coming in, and in the old school way of doing things, we pick up the phone, send out email blast 1-to-1. We do it 1-to-1, and guess what? You're on your email all day. That isn't cool. That isn't what we're about. You should be on the phone, actually, at the point when this is all set up, or in fact, you should be Dr. Evil, delegating this stuff, but you need to be following up while they're hot, and we're not doing that. Next, when someone comes into your domain, you don't know who's a 10, who's a 1, who's a 7, you don't know where they are. You don't know if they're ready to buy, ready to move forward, looking to move to a new contract. You've got no idea. So we need to automate this process. We need to find out where they are in the process. Next, your current follow-up process, if it's based on something behavioral, so for example, you come in the morning and someone's come to your website and they filled out a form, or they've downloaded an ebook, or they've sent you an email. It's all manual, and we follow up manually. So we just bam, we do it all manually, and we drop the plan for the day. And then we're still stuck there at 6 o'clock at night, catching up with the rest of the day. And then next day we add to our list. And then we get into this reactive mode, and guess what? We're about as organised as a gnat. And that isn't the way to do when you can automate the entire process. So if your behavioral triggers are, so a client comes to you and they download an ebook, as I say, or they come to you and make a request for more information, or if a candidate uploads a CV, it's all done manually, and we drop it, and we manually follow them up. And in fact, a lot of those won't turn into an actual, at this time anyway, turn to you getting paid. So when we get a behavioral trigger, so a client or candidate has done some form of action, we drop everything and we follow it up manually. And I'm sure you know what I mean. We need to move away from that. We want to automate this process. Next, we've got a time-based trigger. Right, every 30 days I'm going to follow up with a client. I've got these 30 senior candidates. I know if I can get one of these candidates, they're about to become a director or about to become a PMO. I know if I can get in with these guys, then I might get 5-10 contracts moving forward. So every 30 days I'm going to follow them up, pick up the phone and annoy the hell out of them during their day. Or do you know what? Annoy them at home later on. They prefer that even more when they're with their wife or their kids. So you're doing things on time based, and again, it's all manual. And what you're doing is based on what suits you. If you contact them in that way, you base it on what suits you. So both ways following up, behavior and time based, we're doing manually. That isn't cool. And it suits what suits your diary, not your prospect's diary. Again, which isn't cool. So we need to take both of what you're doing manually, the behavioral side, and also the time side. Let's automate it. Let's automate it and make it suit the timeline of your prospect, so we don't annoy the living hell out of them. Next problem I see. When you do a sales follow-up, and I've seen you do this online, some of you as well, but when you pick up the phone every 30 days, hey Steve, how you doing? Just checking in. You're being so blasé in your own world about what you're doing is you think you're just touching base and engaging. You're selling, and your prospect knows you're selling. Your client knows you're selling. Your candidate is feeling like a piece of meat. You're selling. You've given no value in between. You've not sent out 4 pieces of content, not invited them to a webinar. You've not engaged with them. You've not surveyed them. You've not given them something of value. You're just selling. That's going to push them even further away. They're going to trust you even less. Even less. And some of you have done this with your autoresponder. Being way too aggressive. Next, even though you've got the best intentions, the manual follow-up, it doesn't happen strategically. It doesn't happen. If those of you have said, yeah, I'm going to do the autoresponder next month, some of you I know have done extremely well with different strategies, but you're missing out on a huge amount of potential business because you've bought so many leads in the front end and done so well, for example, with either the Maven strategy or whatever strategy you do, Barry, for example, but you haven't got the follow-up. So we need to get this in. This is a key pillar. Now I want to be really blunt about this. Without it, you're screwed. Yes, the other strategies work really well. Yes, Content Cannon's awesome. Yes, Maven strategy's awesome. Yes, RR's awesome. But listen, every single day in our own business, we get people coming to our diary and applying for a strategy call every single day. I've been following you for a year. I've been following you for 3 years. Exactly the same in your business. Lots of you are getting that already. Lots of you, because you're now working one-to-many, are getting traction straight away. But where the magic happens is you wake up and you've got those coming and booking into your diary. They're coming to you. I've been following you so long. Yeah, I didn't need a SharePoint developer 4 months ago, but now we do. Yeah, I've really been looking for a sales director, but we just couldn't get the budget. It's been approved, and I've seen you've been sending out this content, and you've actually been asking me questions about my business, which no one else does that in recruitment. I can't believe you're actually asking these questions, and it sounds like you're coming to me one-to-one. So you wake up and you've got these leads happening, but the entire thing's automated, and when it's done correctly, you can differentiate between a message that looks like you're sending out 1 to 10,000, but also a message where you're sending out 1 to 1. And we're going to focus on that also. So when I say you're screwed, you're not screwed as in everything else falls under, but you're missing out on so much, because anywhere between 50% to 98% of your prospects, when they get into your funnel, they're not going to be ready to buy. Either they don't know you, they haven't got the budget, they don't trust you, the candidate thinks you've treat them like a piece of meat up front. So this is where the good old follow-up happens. We all know in sales terms, is it between calls 2 and 8 or the touch points 2 and 8 where most of it all happens. Let's automate it. Let's automate it. So very quickly, just type in the box those key problems before we get into the principles. Anything you want me to recover, I want to make sure we're all good. And then say normally we've got 5 key principles, but because we've been looking at what you're actually doing, today I've got 10 key principles. Because it's things that we've discussed before, and we're not implementing them. So these are 10 critical facets that you must have in your autoresponder, and they are going to make a big difference, okay? Now, for those of you who've said you sent things for me to review, as I said at the top of the call, for those of you who are late, my apologies. I'm a little bit behind from yesterday and the weekend, but I will get on it either on the call today or I'll be following up after the call, okay? So that's coming, so my apologies. Okay, good stuff. Let's get into the 10 hot principles. Grab a pen and paper and let's work through these, okay? Number 1, this is key. I don't get my head around this because I'm a want it all now person. I'm the person who wants to go from 0 to hero overnight. That's the way I've always been. I think that's the way I'm wired. You know, that's the way I'm wired. And as I said, the strategies that we've developed came from out of a need more than an opportunity. Is a need. So I want to run a webinar, and on the back of it, right, I want to be doing this. I didn't get the concept of 90% of my future business meaning from 30 days from now through to 3 years from now, will come from the automated follow-up. I didn't get my head around that. I didn't get my head around that. Because we live in an ADHD society, and we're in the recruitment space, we're even more like a million miles an hour. We don't get our head around that. We want it now. Done. So for those of you who run the Maven strategy, you know you run the first time you run it. If no one knows you, you're going to get, you might get something from the first one, second one you get more, third one you get more, fourth, fifth one, it'd be a completely different animal. Completely different animal. The sixth, seventh one, you'll be now having, if you've done correctly, you'll be having, well, I'm not going to say too many clients than you can handle. What I'm going to say is you're going to have a lot of opportunity there. Some of you do have that, but I don't want to misset expectations, but it's that consistency. So with the automated process of an autoresponder, think 30 days. Think to 3 years. Really important. That's the real key principle. Next, treat it like you would a sales team. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if you had 5 sales consultants in your business and they were sat in front of you, you're going to spend a bit of time making sure it's done correctly, aren't you? You're going to make sure that they've understand either how to find a prospect, how to approach a prospect, how to engage a prospect, how to speak to a prospect, how to follow up. But because we're doing things online, sometimes we take a shortcut, which is not a bad thing. I'll come to in a second. But let's make sure the shortcut actually gives us something of value, and something of value means give them something of value. So really treat this. This is going to run while you're asleep, while you're at a party. Your candidates, your clients are going to be getting communication from you. So although you write it, or your ghostwriter writes it, or if it's a link to a webinar, whatever, and whatever the content is, which we'll come to, don't just think, rush it, get it done, because you are literally sat across a desk having a conversation with them. But 5,000-10,000 people at a time. 100 times a year. And when it's set up, it'll be set up for life. At least for the next few years. But the content you got will probably be set up for life. And that's the reality of it. Evergreen content. So really think about what you've got. Think about the template you're going to use. Again, we're going to come to this. Next principle. This is just so important. Start it, get it up, get it set up, and just get on with it. I keep saying this over and over again. 80% is what you should be focused on the first time. Do not become a perfectionist. I go over this again and again. I cannot accept responsibility for this. Or anyway, credibility for this is from Dan Sullivan, the strategic coach. If you do something 80% the first time, 80% awesome. That leaves 20%, which is not good enough. If you go around the second cycle, and you go 80%, the remaining 20%, now you've got 96%. That's good enough, guys. Recruiters aren't doing this. Recruitment companies aren't doing this. Huge internal companies are not doing this. Even if you went out there and you completely ballsed it up, you're doing more than the biggest companies in the business. And that's a fact. That isn't hyperbole. It's fact. Get it out there. Do not overthink it, but just have the mindset, right, I've got a template. I know how to work through it 80% first time. Right, I might want to tweak it. So when we tweak it, this is what we do. So the first thing you do, going back a step, if you haven't done it, you just get the content up there. You get the content up there. So that could just be articles. It could be links to what you've already got. Get it up there. Then when the time is right and you plan it, which we're going to come to in a bit, then you go through the second cycle. So now you want to get more focused on, do you know what? At the moment I'm just putting out good articles once a week. It's more than my competitors are doing. Every message has got a call to action, which I'm going to come to in a second with templates. But then you might want to go back and add some like time-based things. So, you know, every 30 days I might send a personal message, which would be, hey Steve, just checking in, are you still looking for Java developers? So what you would normally do on the phone. Or you might say, you might go back and work in a behavioural way. So think about what you do now in the business from a behavioural perspective. When someone comes to our website, they download ABC, what do? Well, at the moment they go into Autoresponder, we give them content. But what do you normally do? Well, we pick up the phone. How about we make another autoresponder for that? But round one, just get the content up there. Just get front of mind. Get it up. Do not overthink it. The second time, now you can go back and think about it more. Spend time on it. Plan it as a project. Make 2 distinct outcomes. Round one, get the first set of content up. Even if it's 1 article a week. You created articles because of the content canon already. Then if you want to go back and be really smart, let's go back and be clever now. And you might plan this for month 8 or month 9 in the inner circle, which is probably about right. But you can start getting really clever on this. So if someone comes to our website and downloads something, or if they fill out, if they download a white paper, or if normally we follow up with clients every 30 days, you can set up mini automations, and we cover that in the automated campaigns training. But it's really important that you just get the first one set up, because a lot will come from that over the next 30 days to 3 years, and then you can go back and be clever. Next thing I see, I get messages from you saying, Andy, so I've got my autoresponder up, I've got 10,000 in my database, or 1,000. Can I still send out a message to all of them announcing I've got a webinar? Or can I send out a message around an upcoming podcast or about an event or whatever you might be? Yes. Yes, you can still broadcast. So when you send out a message, so if you've got 10,000 in your list and they're part of an autoresponder, you can still manually send out a message to all 10,000. We call that a broadcast. Yes, you should. Absolutely. Next, really important, what do you want to be known for? Now, let me just see if Mike's on the call. Let me see if Mike's on the call. Mike's not on the call. Mike, when he joined us, we actually said no to him joining first of all, because it didn't go the way that I would like the conversation to go, and so forth. But one of his members of his team was on the call, was an 18-year-old boy, or lad rather, not boy, man. Really good questions, but perhaps didn't understand the bigger picture of what you're trying to achieve here. Didn't understand what could happen online. Anyway, I'm signed up to his autoresponder, and every single week I get a message, and all it is an article. But every single week, the headline in the title starts off with his area. So if you work in Java development, if you work in BIM, if you work in household construction, if you work in New York FMCG, if you whatever it is, the opening of every single message had his area, and then at the top of the article. Now, are there other options? Of course there are. But what's happened is this. Even we're signed up to hundreds of recruitment agencies, and I now associate him with his niche, SharePoint, every single time. It starts off with his niche, every single time. So now I associate him with his niche. Now some of you are doing really well and you just give your article headline, and that's also good. But what it's done is done to me subconsciously is now I'm associating him with his niche. He's now known for me, SharePoint, over and over. That's it. It's clear as day. You can do the same strategy with Maven webinars or whatever strategy you can use. But in terms of the autoresponder, every single message, and it's one a week I'm getting, just starts off with his area. So Jorge, you're on the call. Let me just see. Unfortunately, he's not. Jorge's in Mexico City, and he covers a lot of different sub-niches, but what he's doing, no one else in Mexico is doing. Mexican recruitment might just be the opening, or Mexico recruiter, or Mexican hiring might just be the opening of each title. But he's getting known. Mike's getting known for what he's in. It's consistently, and he's, even to me, he's inundated. He's known for it. He's very consistent. It's every single week. He's not doing anything advanced, really basic stuff. But what do you want to be known for? What is your niche? What is your niche? So Simon in Australia, you're in your niche. You're think about the niche you're in. You might want to start off with open up each email with just identifying what your marketplace. But think about what you want to be known for, because every single week or twice a week or whatever you set up as, you're going to be sending out content. Although you set up and you forget about it, it's going to have a big impact on the back end of it. So what do you want to be known for? What's your area? Wacom, SaaS. Brilliant. SaaS, brackets, then title of the head of the article. Now, if you're thinking, Andy, can you check my titles, my articles? Don't need to be doing that. And saying, you define what the title is going to be your article. You've done that from your content canon. But what I'm saying is, with the consistency that happens, so even the from name, if you go into your autoresponder and you say from Andy Whitehead, you might put brackets SaaS. So you can set up your from name, but I know what you're in. I know who you're about. Consistently, over and over again. Michelin star chefs, whatever your niche is. Over and over again, it's in my inbox. If I filter on you, I see your name, brackets, Michelin star chefs. What's your niche? What do you want to be known for? So although you set up once and it's set and forget, it will have a big impact later on. So think about the inbox. Go to your Hotmail, go to your Google Mail, look at what it looks like, what stands out. Next principle, message 1, set the tone. So message 1, this is actually from Ken. This is exactly what we told Ken to do, and he's done it. Up front, you set expectations. Lots of you haven't done this. So what you do with your first message is you've opted in, so you can say you got a welcome email, and you set the expectation, you set a tone. So in his case, each week we're going to be sending you 2 pieces of content so that they know what they're getting. You've told them up front, I am going to be sending you 2 pieces of content. There's no surprises, there's no like spam clicking, there's no stop emailing me. You've said straight away. You've told them what you're going to do. You've set expectations. Each week I'm going to be sending you 2 pieces of content. And then underneath it, listing the content articles. So if you've gone through the content canon, you've probably got 10 to 20 articles. List them. Now look at the bottom. If I could write one thing to make your global expansion easier, what would it be? Identifying a pain point. And guess what? They're going to click reply, and suddenly you start getting engagement. So all he's done there is follow the steps laid out in other trainings. But to make it really laser focused, number 1, we set the tone, we set the timeline, we've told them what we're going to do. Number 2, we've got them excited about the upcoming content. Number 3, we've got a call to action straight away, but it's very subtle. If I could write one thing to make your global expansion easier, what would it be? Some are going to click reply. Most won't, but some will. And then you open engagement. And that in itself might lead to a telephone conversation. But what we'll also do is tell you what they want to know about. Next, template it, test it, traffic tap it. So, you create a template. So when you've got your autoresponder, use the same template over and over again. Test it. What do I mean by that? Well, if you go into Active Campaign, for example, click on My Templates. They've got lots of pre-made. You can hire someone to make it for, well, anywhere between 10 and $100, or you can have your own one created by yourself, or you could use one of theirs, whatever it's going to be. So you template it. Test it. What does that mean? Here's the funny thing. The marketplace is changing all the time. So we're testing all the time. And one thing we're finding of late, and we're now in, for those of you watching it back, we're now 29th September 2015. So just coming to October 2015. What we're finding is, when you create your own template, sometimes it's going to spam more. Interesting. Why is that? Is it the HTML behind it? Probably yes. Probably yes. So what you do is you test it. So if you create a template, whether you use the ones built by the Autoresponder company or you have one created yourself, send emails to your own email address, to a Hotmail address, to a Google Mail address, to a Yahoo address. Test it. Just send a test email within your Autoresponder and see if it goes to junk or if it goes to your inbox. Is there a certain rule about this? No, there is not. Say the marketplace has changed in the last couple of months, and the way things are getting delivered changes all the time. So you must test it, and it's as simple as what I've just laid out there. Then you speak to your autoresponder provider and ask them, why is this happening? And they're going to probably give you guidance anyway. But you template it, so use the same one over and over again. You test it, and then you send traffic through it, and the traffic tap training will help with that. Now, in terms of templates, you've probably seen our templates. This is the opening of one of ours. But at the bottom, everyone write this down now. Your templates, call to action. So big red button there. So every single email we send out to one of our autoresponders, not all of them, we have this big option, click here, and they sign up for a 10-minute call. So every single email is a call to action. Does that mean that everyone who reads it is going to sign up? Absolutely not. When we get new leads in, what happens typically, and those of you who go through the webinar strategy will know this, and also the content cannon, what will typically happen, if you run, for example, a content cannon strategy, you bring 1,000 new leads into your business, say 1,000 people visit the page, 500 sign up and they give you their details, then the subset of that will complete a survey, and you're going to then put them to RRR. In your content cannon, be the same. You might get 1,000 people go into your autoresponder. 1,000 might go into your autoresponder through one of your funnels, which we'll come to later on. Very rarely is someone go, that's a great article, I want to speak to them, but it does happen. Now think about this. If you want to go from wherever you are now, either a 200 grand a year business or you're a $1 million business and you want to double it, how many more clients or candidates do you need? Now one of the key things you want, if there's 2,000 clients in your marketplace, we want all 2,000 in your database. Why? Because we're going to nurture them with awesome content. And then what we're going to do is give them the opportunity to speak to us, like here, over and over again. So we want to get all our clients and candidates off LinkedIn. We still want to use LinkedIn, as we know, but we want to get them into your database. Then we can nurture them, and we can give them the opportunity as a call to action. We can set up career ignition calls and all the stuff we're going to come to in a bit. But every single template, there is a subtle call to action. Now, should you use something as direct as this? No. Why? Because your marketplace will be different for each of you. So what I recommend you do is this. You give out content and you have a subtle call to action. So notice the one just now with chap. If I could write about one thing, what would it be? So they might hit reply. This is so in your face. We're trying to get rid of all the tire kickers, want serious people only. Now, can you have this in your template? Yes. Every template should have a call to action. Absolutely. But you want to be a little bit subtle. So what does it actually look like? It's completely up to you. You all don't want the same thing. You might have a career ignition call. You might have a survey to complete. You might have a 10-minute client audit call, which we'll come to in a second. But every email have a subtle call to action. We're going to come to those in a second. But if you look here, the listen here, that's a call to action. The big red button, that's a call to action. But if you're going to write an email, at the end of it, have a call to action. Now, there are a number of calls to action. We're going to come to that in the advanced part in a second. But if you're sending out content, give them the opportunity to take the relationship further. They've micro-committed. They've opened the email. They've read the email. They might be ready to now speak to you. They might now be ready to book into your online diary. They might not be. It might take them another year to follow you. It might be that you've got no positioning. It's going to take them another month, or it might take them another 2 years. We don't know. But give them the opportunity of moving forward the relationship. So you need calls to action in there. Subtle calls to action. So what that actually look like, I recommend at the end of each article, depending on what the article is, you give them the opportunity to book into your online diary, whatever it's going to be, take the relationship further. I'm going to go through those in a second. But don't copy what's right in front of you now. Literally, click here to do this. Some of you who work, for example, in the fashion space, you're going to have a different prospect than someone who works in the financial services. Financial services, a big red button like that is going to probably repel them. If you're talking to an 18-year-old who wants to become a chef, and you've got a big benefit, completely different prospect. But your template, at the end of it, have a call to action. Really clear. Do the following. Next. Well, Andy, it's just so many options. What am I going to do? Well, if you go to the autoresponder sequence, so if you go to members area, autoresponder sequence, there's a training on what your sequence of emails could look like. Now, I know lots of you have not done it because we look at what you've done. So let's focus on really simple. I'm setting up an autoresponder. What do I do? Number one, if someone comes to your webinar or comes to your website and they give you their details, give them a welcome email. Let them know what's going to happen. So that's what we've covered here. Thanks for registering at ABC. Each week we're going to, and you tell them what's gone through there. We've been through that. Next. They've signed up for a reason. They haven't signed up because they like the look of you, or they like the thought of getting another email in the inbox, because everyone loves getting more emails in their inbox. They signed up because they got a problem. They got a problem and it needs to be fixed. So how do we do that? Well, number one, you know this. Problem solution. So we need to demonstrate you're the problem solver. Number two, how do we know you can fix it? By demonstrating you fixed it before. We do that with case studies, for example. So fast track, you set up a welcome email. Problem solver emails. Case study emails. So how do we do them? Problem solver emails, you've already done it. If you've done Content Cannon Part 1, you focused on the problems for your marketplace. You focus on the problems in terms of them not getting enough clients or enough candidates, enough new roles or enough candidates. You've done that in Content Cannon Part 1. You've seen it in Content Delivery Shortcuts. You've got articles written. You might have YouTube videos. You might have webinar recordings of what you've already done. So, for example, you've done a webinar on a Maven webinar with Brad Pitt, and he's focused on the top 5 challenges for Java developers with the upgrade from 7 to 8. You focus on the problem. So you've got problem-solving emails. Next, they want to know are you the real deal? Have you really got people who've done well? So, you've got the case study builder. So go to the members area, search for the case study builder. Now it's written out there in a way, and again, go and watch the training. It's laid out for you, and there's a whole 60 minutes on how to lay it out. But there's no point saying, yeah, I love Mark. His company really took care of me and got me a great contract. Or we use Mark at ABC Engineering, and they found us the best candidates. We highly recommend them. What a load of BS. We see that everywhere. And often we don't have names, we don't have etc. We've got a problem, we've got a solution. So we've gone from frustration to fix, and that's what the case study builder does. So in your autoresponder, you might want to do videos. You might want to just have an email. You might want to make a quick presentation. But use the layout there. Go through the 9 boxes. To see it working in real life, go to Recruitment Agency Ignition. Look at some of the ones we did last year. We're going to be releasing about another 10 over the next few months now. But focus on case studies. So the problem, we focus on that with the Content Cannon Part 1. Proving you can do it, the case study builder. Next principle, so important. Please do not become the person who does this. Andy, I need to now do it myself before I can outsource it. Okay, that's fair enough. You might want to do it yourself the first time. But we're building a business that's going to scale here. So get your VA to implement it. If you've not got a VA, go and watch Frustration of Freedom. You shouldn't be doing these things. You shouldn't be doing these things, okay? So you must be thinking with the end in mind. I want $1 million business, I want a $5 million business, whatever your metric is. Whichever one of those two, you wouldn't be doing these things in $1 million business. You wouldn't be doing it in a $200,000 business. So start with the end in mind. And you all know this. Those businesses we see that grow the quickest and most consistently and get the compound growth are those who focus with the end in mind. I'm here for 12 months. How can I make this really, how can I scale? Well, I'm not going to be doing this in 12 months, would I? Of course you're not. So get a VA to implement it. Frustration of Freedom is what you want to watch and go through it in detail. Hey there, so what do you think about that then? So the intent of that session was really just to let you understand that there are many companies like you in the same position. It's really just to let you understand that I get where you're at. So there's five key problems you might have there that you can relate to, and if you are, I completely empathise with what you are going through right now. But really what I want you to focus on is the outcome to actually turn that around. So I've given you 5 key indicators and 5 key steps you might be able to move forward with. I've not given you templates, I've not given you the how-to, I've not given you the tools, I've not given you the overarching integrated strategy. It's only a quick video. But what we can do is we can jump on an agency growth action plan call, and on that call I will give you the how-to, and I will give you the steps, and I will give you the strategy. So on that call, what we can do is this. Before the call, I want you to just complete a couple of questions for me, so I've got some context, and then on the call we can do this. If you need clients, I'm going to give you 3 strategies specific to your niche that are going to help you get, not just attract and all that woo-woo, but actually get clients that are going to pay you in the next 30 days. So you actually get clients who are going to pay you. That's inbound clients coming to you saying, Mark, can we speak on Tuesday at 2 o'clock? Rachel, on Thursday, can we speak at 4 o'clock? Nigel, Monday, can we speak at 7 o'clock? So actually clients coming to you. I'm going to show you how to do that. Number 2, if you need candidates, I'm going to give you at least one inbound system, to get candidates. And not just any candidates, but the candidates you need to get paid. So if you're searching on job boards, they're the candidates you cannot place. They're the ones who are open to everyone else in the marketplace. There are those who are actually looking for roles. There are those who have been placed before and have been asked to leave the company. They're not the candidates you want. You want the candidates who are passive, as you know. And the third thing is, whether you're looking for automation, whether you're looking for inbound, whether you're looking for systemization, whether you're looking to scale, go from 100k to 500k, or go from 500k to 1 million, or whether you're starting up and looking to get to your first 200k, I'm going to give you that momentum. So I'm going to do that on an agency growth action plan. So look below, click the button below, schedule your call. There's just a handful of questions there, literally just a handful. Give me as much information as possible. We're going to get on that call, and then we're going to get into solution mode. So I look forward to speaking to you soon. The places are strictly only for those who are really serious about change. So as you can see, you've only got a handful of appointments there. So click the button below and really think about this. Are you looking to change your business now? Are you looking to really move from the old way of doing things to, I want inbound? Now, if you go to our website, you can go and check out dozens and dozens of case studies and all sorts of cool tools, strategies, webinars, all that cool stuff. But click the button below, schedule that call before they all go. I think we've got 5-6 appointments left, and then we'll get on to that 15-minute call, and let's knock this out of the park. So let's get on the agency growth action plan call, and we'll speak soon. Take care. Bye-bye.